let's do the ACC. How about that? Let's go to the ACC right now. We've got Clemson, SMU in Charlotte, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, ABC. SMU's a 2.5-point favorite to Dabo. Crazy. We watched football all weekend, and we go, oh, Clemson, they lose to South Carolina, and the casual college football fan goes, okay, Clemson lost. They can't be making the playoff. No way. That game was irrelevant for, honestly, probably both teams. We said that, Connor, and now all of a sudden Clemson finds themselves only a 2.5-point underdog in a game close to home in Charlotte, North Carolina, where they're familiar with, and they have a shot to be the 11-12 seed in the college football playoffs still.
Honestly, Clemson shouldn't even be here, like you just said. How slimy, how disgusting would it be if Clemson gets beat by South Carolina and then they get in the playoff while South Carolina's sitting at home on the couch? That just feels so slimy.
Yep. This is the one matchup that could really give the playoff committee trouble, because if
Miami.
Thanks, Miami. Because if Clemson wins here, SMU they're teetering on the edge of that at-large bid 12 seed. So it's like
they should still get in.
We've already discussed that.
We did get it. We got into that. But this is the conference title game I feel the most strongly about. SMU has been dynamite this year, 6th in the NCAA in points per game with over 37. Quarterback Kevin Jennings, who we didn't even think was going to play this year. We were all on Preston Stone in the preseason, but he has been moving the ball down the field against everybody they've played. I think he's going to have success against Clemson's defense. And SMU's last two opponents, I'll give you credit. It's Virginia and California. They're not powerhouses. They're not juggernauts. They have scored a combined 13 points on this SMU defense. Whoever you're playing, 120 minutes of football, giving up 13 total points to two conference games, that's impressive no matter who you play. It is.
Is it though? Because it's
a credit to their defense.
Sure, but that's also a Virginia team that's completely checked out, and dudes entered the portal the second the clock hit 0 after the Virginia Tech game. Cal, they're done. They're checked out for the season and whatnot after they beat Stanford.
I still think that's a positive for SMU's defense. That's a positive heading into a game against Clemson, giving up 13 points in 2 weeks, no matter who the opponent is.
But one thing you've mentioned multiple times with Clemson this season is they've had the most fraudulent schedule ever. It doesn't matter. Their wins are so gross. They've dominated the App States, the NC States of the world. It doesn't matter. Clemson has not really beaten anybody real and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you what, they have the same schedule. They have the same wins.
Yeah.
It's their strength of schedule via PFF. Clemson has 56th, SMU has 61st. They're both pretty similar.
But SMU's been waxing teams. Clemson's lost their only 2 real games to Georgia and South Carolina. I feel like SMU is a real team. I feel like SMU's a real test.
But I understand that. But what has SMU's test been? BYU? They failed that horribly.
That's fair. I test also wise, though, I'm willing to believe in SMU's offense over Clemson's offense. This looked pretty dysfunctional over the last few games. I mean, you look at their Cade Klubnik, hasn't been impressive. He's been turning the ball over. And then their running game, Phil Maffa, he's looked bad against South Carolina, barely 3 yards a carry. And then against Pittsburgh in a couple weeks before that, 17 attempts for 17 yards. They don't have a running game right now. So you're going to tell me Cade Klubnik's going to throw on this SMU defense that has been better no matter who they've been playing?
I think Cade Klubnik's going to run on this SMU defense. I think that's the key for them. I think we're going to see him scrambling all over that field in Charlotte on Saturday.
The difference in Clemson and SMU, though, is Clemson has looked vulnerable. SMU is 8-0 in ACC games. They scored 30 or more points in 7 of those 8, and 6 of those 8 wins were by double digits, including all 4 in November. They have been dominating teams, even if they are bad, even if they are mid-tier ACC teams. They're hitting their stride at the right time.
But you can't say they haven't looked vulnerable. They barely.
I don't think they have.
They barely beat Duke. They had
look what they've done in the last month and a half, though, and then look what Clemson's done in the last month and a half. I think these are two teams trending in opposite directions.
But I understand that. But if
Clemson should have lost to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Okay, sure. But South Carolina is a much different opponent than Virginia with Calandria and Tony Muskett.
That is true. I'm just saying these two teams are trending in different directions. I think SMU is hitting their stride at the right time, and I don't think Clemson's all they're cracked up to be. I think SMU is better than this Clemson team, and I think they're going to show that on Saturday.
How much do you factor into Dabo having won this game a billion times before and being in the spot where SMU hasn't?
I think that is worth mentioning. I think that is 100% worth mentioning, and I will give credit there. Clemson's been here before. SMU's first year in the ACC. It's a step up. They've showed they can beat these mid-tier ACC teams. They've beat them like a drum. This is different on a big stage like that. I think that does play in Clemson's favor. but I still think second half SMU pulls away.
My last question. This is conspiracy question. Does Jim Phillips and the ACC step in here and say, we're making sure Clemson wins this game so we can get 2 in the playoff?
Ooh.
I think that is the best point you've made so far. Seriously.
Because we've seen the ACC run some gross stuff in their championship games. I mean, you're a Carolina fan. You know that more than anybody else.
Sure do. I sure do. Some onside kick problems in the championship.
Against the same effing team.
Yeah, that is a real thing. Because SMU probably gets in even if they lose.
Yep. And then they would have 2 teams playing in the quarter. It's gross.
I wouldn't put it past them. SMU first year in the conference. Hey, welcome to the ACC. Your turn to do us a solid. We got you in the conference. Now you got to help us get 2 conference teams in. Even so, conspiracy hat off. I think SMU wins here. I like them -2.5.
I love it, Dylan. Sorry we haven't been able to come to you for a minute.
Yeah, sorry, I've been on a heater. Sorry, Dylan.
Listen, this is your guys' wheelhouse. You give me Big Ten, you guys take ACC. But I do think that this is going.
It seem like a fair trade.
Well, you want Mountain West? I'll give you Mountain West, and I'll give you Coosa.
We'll take the Sun Belt.
I want Fun
How
Belt.
about Jacksonville State?
Give me dibs on Fun Belt.
This matchup, I'm looking forward to a lot. ACC football is not something I keep a particularly close eye on compared to some of the other ones.
Say the under.
Oh, under 100%. And let me tell you why. I think I'm just going to end up round robining all of the major conference championship unders, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. I think you're just going to do that. The Big 12, we'll get into that. Maybe not.
Hey, when the season gets coming to an end, run the ball. Call what works, Dylan. Bet every under. That's Dylan Wilkerson's game plan. Half back dive.
I've kind of strayed from that, though, with some ACC matchups, and I've had success, especially those CW ones, anything Syracuse, Boston College is involved.
Wake Forest.
Oh, that slow mesh. I'm a sucker for the slow mesh. They're playing in a bowl game, right?
No,
six.
Not.
No, not 6 wins.
I don't think they got to 6.
I'll have to wait till next year. Clemson's defense, not great against the rush. SMU doesn't really run the ball very well. Clemson's offense is great on late downs. SMU's great at defending on late downs. There's a lot of things here that it seems like what Clemson does well on offense, SMU defends well against, and vice versa, almost in every aspect of this game. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. If I had to take a side, Connor, you made some great points. I would lean towards SMU. I am going to take the under here. I think it's going to be a slugfest. I'm very excited. We know this Clemson defense, they're not as good as what I thought they were going to be earlier in the season, but they are still a pretty good unit. And SMU's defense, even though lately they haven't had a super tough stretch, like you said, 13 points or 13 whatever
points
it was.
in 120 minutes of football. That's impressive no matter who you play.
That's impressive. Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. So I'm going under here. I think SMU, if I had to pick a side, it would be SMU.
Now, counterpoint to everything I said, SMU's the play here.
Oh my gosh.
He's back.
There we go.
Flip-flopping
real
Karter.
host.
He's
That's a
back.
real
I'm not
host right
flip-flopping. I'm not flip-flopping. Someone had to argue for the side of Clemson.
That's valid.
But I'm not going to bet this game. I refuse to bet this game because, like I mentioned, there's going to be some weird chicanery going on in Charlotte.
There's a world where Clemson wins by like 3 scores. There really is.
There is a world where we start seeing a lot of phantom holding calls, illegal contact, illegal use of hands to the face calls. I'm not getting in the mix of that. Dabo has been in this game multiple times. That's one thing I'm very scared of. I think that's an intangible thing. We talk about when we do like Super Bowl previews and whatnot. Andy Reid, having been there, and winning that game does actually matter in these moments. They know what it takes to win. SMU is trending in the right direction. Like you said, they've had a similar schedule, similar wins. At the same time, I just can't feel comfortable enough betting a team against a coach that's done it time and time and time again against a sketchy freaking conference, man.
I think that's valid. And I think if the game is close, that is a very real possibility. I don't think it's close enough for that to matter. That would be my thing.
Because couldn't you see it right now? It's 23-21 in the fourth quarter, and then Clemson has the ball driving downfield.
Chuck it downfield.
It's 4th and 8, and all of a sudden it's an incomplete pass, and SMU thinks they've won the ACC. All of a sudden, 10 seconds later, there's just a random flag on the field all of a sudden.
Piece of laundry.
Holding, defense, 10-yard penalty, first down, and then that just ruins the game. It just feels like a gross game like that. Some weird stuff is going to go on there. Also, because whenever they talk about the TV deals and everything with the SEC and Big Ten, if the ACC gets 2 teams in and the SEC only gets, 3 in?
Three, yeah.
They are going to lose their minds. You're going to see a Dan Hurley-like run from Paul Feinbaum and the SEC people saying, this is a joke.
Russillo's the same way.
I know.
Man.
Anyhow, let's go Big 12. Let's go to Arlington.
Score predictions?
Score predictions.
Ooh.
See, I'll go real quick. I think the ref thing is a real thing. I don't think it's going to be that close. I like SMU 34-20. I think it's a 2-score game. I think SMU's offense really has success against Clemson.
SMU 28, Clemson 27. Don't feel great about it.
SMU 31, Clemson 27.
Okay, all right. Pretty
Even
similar.
though I said under.